Hello everybody, my name is Stacy. Welcome to my channel, The Liminal Space. I'm so excited that you're here to join me for this July reading. I'm just going to light my candle here. I always like to bring in the spirit of fire for readings. That's very important to me. I have a Leo sun and moon, and of course Leo season will come to us towards the end of July, so I'm pretty excited about that. But we don't want to jump, too fast into the future. Time is moving very quickly as it is. So we're just going to enjoy where we're at right now. We're still in Cancer season. We just moved into that at the summer solstice. And so we're really just enjoying the freshness of that watery and pretty emotional energy. And so if that's kind of what you're feeling, very loving, sometimes very tearful, sometimes even like crabby and crusty and protective. That's kind of some of the shadow things that Cancer does as well. And we can be feeling all of those things. So for, starting off July, we just had a full moon at the end of June. So that's big energy. And we're still really sitting in that, the full moon, new moons too, phase lasts about 3 days. So you're probably still feeling that potentially today. Also on that same day, which was the 29th, we had other things going on. We had Mercury go retrograde. So that can feel, bumpy. And it will be in Cancer for its whole retrograde. I believe we go into Leo later that day, right? As soon as Mercury straightens itself out. Jupiter also moves into Leo, so that'll be big energy, and that happened on the 29th, and we're going to feel that for 13 months, so expect that. Jupiter is very expansive, successful, and Leo is very extroverted, and so expect those kind of energies. Also for July, I'll just mention we'll have the new moon on the 14th. That will be in Cancer. And then a full moon again at the end of the month, July 29th. That will be the buck moon. Also, just to prepare you for the end of July. And this is not an astrology reading by any chance, but we have 2 more planets going retrograde. Saturn and Neptune will both go retrograde at the end of July. So, here we go. So I just want to light a little sage. I should have been doing that while I was talking, just to kind of clear our space. I already cleared my space, but sometimes I feel like when I do it on camera during the reading, that potentially really shares that clearing energy with you. I'm just going to let that sage burn off camera. And then I'm going to light some Palo Santo too, because I love some Palo Santo. It's very clearing as well, and it's also quite healing. I like to work with Palo Santo a lot for healing energy. So we're going to just kind of keep that going too. I use this one for the summer solstice reading. I have a lot of these that are stamped and infused, and this is Shine again. And of course, Shine feels very appropriate for July because it is high summer here in the Northern Hemisphere, and it's very sunny energy. So as always, we're going to look at the Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Reid. And this is a beautiful deck. And I'm always excited to share that with you because we all have, I'm just going to kind of move this up here. We all can connect with spirit guides who are animals, I think, and sometimes they're with us our whole lives, and sometimes they're with us. Well, that was a really not very professional looking shuffle, but who said I'm a professional at shuffling? So anyway, these cards are heavy duty and good quality. So sometimes, and they're pretty big, which I appreciate because that's nice for the camera, but they sometimes don't shuffle smoothly for me because I have small hands. So that's where we're going to be for this. So for these monthly readings, I look at messages to us from the universe, basically from our collective spirit to us. And the first message will be for our mind. The next message will be for our body. And the final message will be for our spirit. And the last couple months, I've actually pulled a color card as well. And I believe that I'm going to do that this month as well. I'm finding that I'm really liking the energy of working with a color for a month. Last month was turquoise, so if any of you worked with that, I hope you enjoyed it. I thought that was really nice. Okay, so let's take a look at what our message for our mind is from Spirit, our first card here. We have Owl Spirit. So you see clearly now. And what a perfect message for our mind, because that is where our third eye is at, connected in our brain, but also our mind is where we process everything. You know, some people say they see with their heart or they see with their gut, their belly, but for me, I see with my mind, I feel in my heart, and I feel messages through my gut. But to me, I see through my mind and my third eye, as well as my physical eyes. So we have Owl Spirit here, and the message is, you see clearly now. So let's take a look at what the message is for us. But owls are all seeing. They're associated with many goddesses, but very powerful wisdom-like energy, often associated with Athena, goddess of war and wisdom. Also, Hecate has strong associations to owls, and that is who I associate owls with. But many people feel like owls are a messenger. Now, in some traditions, they can be associated with bad omens. I don't see them that way. I do think that they indicate change is coming to us and that we should be watchful for that. But I don't think it's necessarily bad change. It's just change. Though sometimes any change can feel uncomfortable. And, you know, we don't always like change, especially if we didn't expect it or didn't necessarily choose it. So anyway, Owl Spirit message is, Owl arrives to remind you that the wisdom within you is informed by your keen senses and the wisdom within the consciousness that we all share. Perfect for a collective reading coming to us for our mind. Even in the darkest night, the owl sees clearly and is guided by every sense that it has, including the first sense of intuition. And we talked about that, kind of your third eye. That really is your intuition. You know, trust yourself, trust the thoughts that you have, the messages that you're getting, you know, trust. I mean, and sometimes it's hard to know, are we getting messages from a good source? Ask yourself, does this feel right? Does this feel positive? Does this feel helpful to me in some way? That's how you know it's your higher self or your spirit guide sending you these messages. It says right now your sensitivities are turbocharged and you are receiving messages from all directions. Owl Spirit reminds you to be wise and pay attention to what's between the lines, what is invisible to the naked eye and what cannot be heard with the ears and what others may not be able to perceive. With all of your senses aroused, you have much knowledge available to you. So pretty good message to us for our mind. It's really telling you to trust yourself, trust the inner voice, trust your instinct and intuition, and trust yourself, you know? Okay, let's look at our message for our body here from this beautiful card deck. We have Mouse Spirit. So this is kind of fun. Nobody really wants mice in their house, but Mouse Spirit is very interesting because the message here is tend to the small things. Also, this is probably the cutest little mouse you'll see. You know, if you find one around, you're probably not in love with it, but know that there are messages that come to us from mouse. So tend to the small things, pay attention to little things. That's where mice play, you know, that's where they're at. That's where they roam and connect to us, not right out where we can see them, but sometimes in the little hidey holes. And that's what this is telling us too. And since it is a message for our body, I'm just going to tell you before I even look at the card meaning that I think this is telling us that we need to pay attention to the small details in our life. And sometimes it's not the big changes that we make in our day-to-day life that can, I mean, certainly big changes can help our bodies and how we process food, drink, information. But sometimes the most important thing is the small changes that you make. Say, I'm going to drink an extra glass of water every day for the month of July, you know, to kind of work on your hydration status. Or I'm going to eat a vegetable with every meal for the month of July. Or I'm going to try to eat fresh fruit twice a day. Those little changes add up. So I think that this is what this is talking about. But So the oracle message here says, the humble mouse pays attention to the smallest details. Mouse spirit calls on you to notice the nuances and the fine print at this time. In your eagerness to meet your goals and pursue your dreams, it's easy to forget the importance of clear communication and tending to the little things, including people's subtle signs when they are unhappy, as well as the small voice inside of you that says this doesn't feel right. We kind of talked about this, just to pause, like when we were talking about owl spirit and trusting your intuition. And you really need to know, like, your higher self and even your ego, which is a very human thing, is not going to guide you to do things that are going to harm yourself, that are going to hurt you in the long run. So if you get messages like that, don't trust that. But if it's something that's helpful to you, that's going to benefit you, that maybe helps you realize something about yourself, pay attention to those little nuances. It says, take your time to sniff out what you need to know. Is there some detail or nuance about how you engage others or operate in the world that is key to your success, but you've too readily dismissed it as it's nothing big or nothing special? Mouse Spirit reminds you that what seems small may be more important and powerful than you think. So look again. So I don't know if you could hear that on the video, but I live in a town with a train that goes by, multiple trains all day long. And it just went by the crossing, and so it's blaring its horn. And so I want to read that line again because I think that timing is perfect. Mouse Spirit reminds you that what seems small may be more important and powerful than you think. So look again. So that's our kind of message for Mouse Spirit. So I am kind of interested to see what our overall collective spirit message is for our spirit, because our spirit really encompasses all aspects of ourselves, right? So we have, this is beautiful. Transformation. So this is the butterfly card, or butterfly spirit, and it says transformation is beautiful. And it is beautiful, but it's not always easy. Just looking at butterflies, talking about butterflies, butterflies start as worms or caterpillars, and then they go through a phase where they are in the chrysalis and they literally dissolve. Their whole, everything that they are dissolves into this mush inside the chrysalis. But then amazing things happen because all of that is transformed into this beautiful butterfly when it is ready to emerge from the chrysalis. Butterflies very much remind me of alchemy. And alchemy, kind of the idea of alchemy, is the idea of to take base metals and turn it into gold. But really, the spiritual meaning of alchemy is to take all the things that have affected us in our life. All the good things, all the bad things, all the junk, all the mess, and we let it boil down into this sludge. It's just a melted pile of stuff. And then from there, we can separate the things that we need to keep and the things that we don't necessarily need to keep. And we separate those and let them come out. And then all of the things that helped us form that we want to keep are a part of creating that new self for us. So I think transformation is a beautiful, beautiful message for us overall. So this is the 11 card too. And of course, 11 is one of those great numbers connected to the master builder. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy. So I want to read, if I can find the message here. The oracle message is that joy and the beautiful lightness of being alive and creative in the world is the focus of butterfly spirit. Transformation is inevitable as you grow into your most beautiful, empowered self. Indeed, you will go through some uncomfortable stages as you let go of the forms of your life that no longer fit the new you. Even relationships must go through shifts to match your new emerging self. If you focus on the beauty and not the challenges, stop taking yourself too seriously, and choose to be playful, loving, and joyous, you will soon notice the miracle your soul wants to experience through you. Today is a day for joy, so alight. Remember, you're going to go through potentially a little bit of discomfort in the chrysalis stage, but you are going to emerge a brand new, beautiful, spread your wings and fly kind of life form. So, wow, this looks pretty good. The message here also says, look around and see that beauty is everywhere and in everyone, including yourself. So This is a really good reading. And I'm going to tell you, the last week of June has felt pretty uncomfortable, which I kind of expected that it was going to, but it was still a little bit more uncomfortable than I was like expecting. But today has felt better than the last couple days. For me, we all feel energy different. So if you don't feel that way, great. I'm happy for you. I've had a bumpy couple of days. Anyways, let's take a look at a color card for us to work with this month. And this is coming from The Secret Language of Color Cards by Ina Siegel. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm going to try to shuffle here on camera, but I don't want to muck up my card placement here. It doesn't always all fit on here the best, but whatever. Doesn't matter. We're going to split the deck and see what our color card is. So what do we have? Turquoise again. This was our card for last month. So that's really interesting and maybe not surprising. I was just looking at this card from last month and I was thinking the message here is awaken your empathy. And I was thinking about how Cancer can be so much associated with empathy. And we are still in Cancer season. You know, we're really kind of fresh into it right now. And empathy is one of those things where you kind of look around yourself and you place yourself in other people's shoes, basically. And you kind of understand or feel for what they're going through. And if we can have empathy for those around us, it makes us kinder. It makes us better people. Now, the thing you have to be careful with is when you're an empath, sometimes you can take on those emotions. And some people are going through hard times. We're going through hard times ourselves. But so you have to be careful that when you empathize with people, that you don't end up creating or forming those emotions within yourself. So you just have to be aware that what you're feeling from somebody else, it's good to be aware of what they're going through because it can be helpful. We can communicate with them better. We know when to help them, when we maybe need to give them some space. But we also need to know to protect ourselves and not take that energy on. But it's always good to be empathetic. I mean, empathy makes us human. And there are beings in this universe that don't have empathy. It is a gift of being human, or it's one of the gifts of being human. And sometimes we forget to be empathetic because we're so busy with our own life, or we're so busy, going to work and paying our bills and making sure we can pay our taxes. I mean, we're just kind of stuck in that matrix that's been built for us that we sometimes don't take the time to look around us and see that, that person might be having a hard time too, or that person might be experiencing something that's really hard right now. And so we can kind of hold space for them without still taking that emotion on. So I think that's what we need to be aware of for this reading. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this reading. I'm so excited. I want to actually read the message from the color card. I just opened right up to it again. So there's definitely something for us here. So I'm going to read this right from the book as it's written. Turquoise inspires the use of communication with feelings, builds confidence in your abilities, and connects you with your intuition and awakens your empathy. Turquoise makes ancient wisdom available and provides a sense of connection to your inner mastery. Hold something turquoise to awaken your empathy for others. So if you can find true turquoise, hold on to that. See what you get from it. Turquoise to me is one of those very grounded earth energies. Maybe because I think of turquoise, the stone, just as much as I think of turquoise as a color that could be associated with water or air even. But there are things out there in the world that are sold as turquoise, and they're probably howlite that's been dyed. But turquoise, you don't even need a crystal to zone in on that energy. Look at some turquoise, feel what turquoise is like. It says here, when you empathize with people, you let go of your judgments and place yourself in their shoes. That's almost exactly what I said earlier. Allow your spirit to soften and receive the opportunity to support, encourage, and inspire others. This also says, hold something turquoise, a crystal, some fabric, a flower, whatever color, or whatever the object is. But it is to remind you of your ability to help others. And say this: I can now place myself in other people's shoes and talk to them from a place of love and compassion. Okay, so happy July. This is a beautiful reading. I'm excited for this month. Of course, I love July. I was born in July. I'm a July Leo, so I'm like, yay, it's my month. It's my season coming. But anyways, I'm wishing you all a happy month of July. Enjoy yourself. Don't worry about the turbulence that's coming with the retrogrades. You know, Mercury's always a little bumpy, but it brings about changes that we need, and it helps expose things that we maybe need to be aware of or work on. So anyways, have a beautiful month of July. Take care of yourself. I would love to hear any comments, or, you know, if you were working with turquoise from last month, how that worked for you and how you might work with it differently for this month. That's what I'm going to journal on, you know, how turquoise worked for me last month and how it's going to work or help me expand this month. So anyways, again, my name is Stacy. Welcome, or thank you for stopping at my channel, The Liminal Space. Take care.